So everybody asks when we get milk picked up, how often. It's daily. We got Paul here.
How's it going?
He drives for Zawal Transportation, who is the people that pick up our milk, and he's going to show you what he does when he picks up milk. So the truck is actually set up with a pump that takes the milk and pumps it into, how many gallons does this hold?
Gallons, I don't know, but pounds, I think we pulled up to 56,000.
56,000 pounds.
Yeah.
That's a lot of milk. And actually, go down the highway when it's 3/4 of the way full. I bet that's a lot of fun, isn't it?
Oh yeah, she'll buck.
Oh boy.
Oh yeah.
So we're going to show you the process. So Paul comes in.
Checking the temperature. Want to make sure that she's cold. Sign that off.
Because if it's not cold, you can't pick up, right?
No, there's a certain temperature that it needs to be at by ODA rules,
yes,
regulations.
And luckily, we have a milk silo. The milk goes into it at the temperature it needs to be.
Yeah.
So if it's ever not cold, we had a major failure. He checked, and since it's already agitating, he doesn't have to agitate it. And so he's marking down how many pounds we had, and he's going to go get the hose and bring it in. Rio, quiet. So as you can see, he pulls the hose through the hose port because it's one of the requirements. He's taking the cap off.
And I've been asked before how fast that pumps out, and we look at about 22 to 2,300 pounds per minute. 22
to 2,300 pounds per minute will pump into the tanker. So the creamery has these stickers for the bottles that it lets them scan it when it goes to the creamery so that they know whose samples they're running. This is a sample port. They spray it off with a chlorinated spray?
Yes, chlorinated.
So make sure it's sanitary. And then he's going to insert a brand new needle. Yep. In to one of the ports. There we go. And look at all that delicious milk shooting out. You're wasting pounds. And he's going to get his samples. And so these samples, they're testing for antibiotics, somatic cell count, and all sorts of different things. I'm having a bit of a brain fart. Fat, protein, all the things that they need to know so that they can pay me accordingly. If it were to test hot for antibiotics, this whole tank would have to be dumped. We don't like that idea.
No.
And he stores the samples in his cooler in there. And so there's no way, because they're the ones taking the samples. It's a third party. It's not me. So we know that it's correct.
So as soon as this load gets to the creamery, we take those samples out and we put them in a refrigerated unit. And it automatically goes to the lab by the end of the day.
Yep, and I get my results end of day. So right now he's waiting for the weight to stabilize now that it's done agitating, because when it's agitating, it is stirring up the milk, getting the fat and the cream all mixed in, and since there's a scale on the bottom, it would be like that you were on a scale jumping up and down, your weight's going to fluctuate. So we got to wait for it to settle, and then he will write down the weight in the sheet here, record it for the creamery. And you guys also weigh when you get to the creamery and when you leave too, and then you compare it.
We go across the scale and we scale in, and then when we scale out, that way if there's any kind of discrepancy that I may have done on my end, you get paid accordingly. So.
But if you were a discrepancy in positive for me, we go off that, right?
Yeah.
That's done. He's gonna Open the valve. Milk's going to start flowing. He's going to flip the switch, which turns on his pump.
And she's pumping.
And she's pumping. So during the winter, some farms, if the power is out, you carry a generator with you, don't you?
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah.
we carry a generator.
Because here on the Oregon coast, a lot of times
Oh yeah.
you can show up and you've got to use a generator to get the milk out. Cool. That's basically it, isn't it?
Pretty much, yeah. It's pretty simple.
When he's all done, he does set up the tank and flip it to the wash. So after every tank of milk is done, this whole thing gets sanitized and it will be ready to be put milk back in this afternoon. Well, thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you.
Uh-huh.